Right. Hi, this is Cash. Welcome to Cloud Soldier. In today, I've got Umar with me. Hello, Umar. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Good. So, what we are doing today, we'll discuss this topic first, which is rolling updates, which is a part of AZ-104 rolling. So, this is also a kind of strategy, just like we had, that blue green.
Yes.
We had deployment slots. Yeah.
Yep.
We had
Right.
Canary deployment, and we had also traffic manager.
Yes.
So this one is rolling. So for example, you have an app on these three virtual machines. Like one machine, they all like is a part of the cluster. Yeah.
Yep.
So for example, this is like your application, this is your database, and this is your middle tier. So and you need to update patches on it. Like security patches.
Yes.
So instead of doing rolling, to do this on this machine, it's not a good idea to do it at the same time. That's not a good idea. So what we do, we use. Remember, we did a feature of AZ-400 called deployment groups.
Yes.
Deploy. So we create a deployment group and add these three machines. So what it will do, it will deploy uh, first this machine, then second this machine, that mean, or if you have a VM scale set,
Yep.
scale set, so it will create a new scale set and deploy patches, and then after the patch is done, it will degrade this one and switch to this one. So that's called rolling updates. Okay.
Yep.
So in today's topic, what we'll be discussing, using a load balancer, right?
Yeah.
Say,
Right.
so you know that load balancer is for balancing your traffic from one machine to other machine. Say, for example, you got for example, you got app on this machine.
All right. So you got app on this machine, and you want to load balance, yeah. Yep.
So it will say something happens, or you want to do some work on this machine, so you can switch just like we did in blue green deployment.
Yep.
So what you do, so your app is here, and then you can switch back to this one, and then switch back to that one. So that's you divert your traffic using load balancer.
I
And
see.
to do this, we need to have help like a backend pool. So in backend pool, what we'll do, we add these two machines, and these two machines will check the health of this machine. Are they working fine? Are they live and everything? And then we create some rules, load balancing rules. So when the traffic comes in, to divert to some, where do you want to do it? Or where do you want to like switch to, like this one or this one? Yeah. So
Yeah.
so this is just the theory part, and so to do the lab, what we'll do, so we have got a, so we'll use this as a green, blue and green. So say, just pretend this is your blue environment and this is your green environment,
Yeah.
exactly identical.
Yes.
So, and we use load balancer. Yeah. So we will create a backend pool and add these two virtual machines into our backend pool and divert the traffic accordingly. So what we're going to do first, we create a lab and we create two virtual machines. And in both virtual machines, we will install IIS server.
Got it.
And say, for example, this is version 1. So this is version 1 and this is version 2. So we'll do that like we did in our uh, deployment slots, but we'll do this time using a load balancer.
All right.
Same, and remember we used traffic manager, we used like a routing method of like wait,
Yes.
1,000 wait and 1 wait, and we switch this, but we use in this example a simple load external load balancer and use blue and green environment and switch using rules, load balancing rules from blue to green. Okay,
Okay.
so let's go to our virtual machine and install our two, and see what happens. Right, okay, so look good. So we go to our portal
Yes.
and if I go to my Google Docs, okay, just create a new resource script. So basically what we'll do, we create a lab and we create two virtual machines and deploy an application on first virtual machine and call it version 1, and we create a second virtual machine and we call it version 2, and then we use Azure Load Balancer and configure it and do the switch like like a blue and green deployment. So I've made some notes if I see this. So okay. So what we do, so like we just said, we'll make a switch between blue and green environment using load balancer. And so to do that, we need to create an infrastructure. So
Yes.
one VM is one. So pretend the first VM will simulating the production. And we get away and we install a like II server and we use a Windows server. We'll create new RG and all that. Password and second VM we do the same thing. And then we install web server and install web server again on second machine, and then we like a small code we put into this folder so we can see the web page on our URL just using the public IP address of that.
Yes.
And then after that, we close both RDP and we disassociate public IP address because the reason we use public IP is just to install IS server. When we're using a load balancer, we don't need this public IPs. Yeah. So we create virtual machines. Okay, we'll create these two virtual machine and we'll resume the recording after that. Or shall we do it now? Just so create a new, just call it load balancer VMRG,
Yes.
and we call it see prod VM prod VM and no availability zone. We don't need any availability zone. No. Okay, and we use just say 2022. I think 2019 is not there anymore. Oh no, there is. Just use that for time being. Standard, just call it Azure user. And password, we can use that. PASS. And we use HTTP because we can install IIS server. So we
Yes.
allow this and create, close this. Just choose standard. Okay, networking uses default program needed. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Management. Monitoring, disable, create. Yeah.
Yep.
So while this is creating, we can also create our second virtual machine. Go to home, create virtual machine. Create virtual machines. Okay.
Okay.
If we choose this group, so we got same resource group, create virtual machine. We call it this time. So we had a prod one first. We call it staging, or we should have called blue green, but doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, staging, or we call it staging VM. Okay, no availability zone, and we use the same 2019 server. Where is it? Here, same. Not this, sorry. not process username and password same. Just use standard. No, we don't want to save. Okay, and we just choose standard. All basic stuff, we have done this millions of time.
Yes.
Networking, so we use the same VNet, ProRBM VNet, and it's a new public IP, and we choose HTTP management. Set boot, advanced, no tags, and create. Okay, so if we go back to first one, that's been that's been done. First one, the port VM. So we copy this and log on to this machine here. So we go to remote desktop
Yes.
and copy that. I think still initializing. Yeah, I think it's still initializing. Or we can connect download RDB file. So if you go here, connect, still is taking its time. Okay, let's try again. Do you understand?
Yes. So we forgot to select
Mm,
RDP and
yeah,
messed up everything.
that's it. Standard. So create a new default provider. See, now it's better. So while this is creating, if I go to refresh, is it been deleted? Yes, that's deleted. Home, resource script. Right. Okay. Right. So if I go back to my machine again, so hopefully this time we should be able to connect it. So if I copy this public IP address and go to my remote desktop, right click, copy paste, connect. Here we go.
Yep.
So that was a problem. PASS. Click OK. Don't ask me this again. Yes. So while this is loading, let's see, this is still creating staging VM. So basically prod VM, we will pretend this is our blue environment, and the staging VM is our green environment. Yeah.
Yep.
So the next step is, so we'll install web server roles on both VMs. So you logged onto this one now. It's loading server manager. So if we go to tools, uh, sorry, manage, add roles and features. Will be well after duration. Okay. Still loading. Yeah. So we choose IIS server. Yeah.
Yep.
Add features. Add features. Next. 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 Install. Yep, installing. So while this is installing, so if we go to our second machine and log on to this server also, if we copy this and go to and copy paste this here, connect. Yeah, you understanding?
Yes.
So we're just creating the infrastructure for it. Yeah.
Yep.
So log this. So 201 is click yes. All right. So while this is loading, we have so this is still installing. Sorry, can you put on mute? Are you listening? Sorry. So we are. So we click yes. Right. So if you go back again to have a look at this server, still installing. It is. So it is installed. Yeah.
Yep.
So if you go back to our staging VM, which is second one, and install this IS server here also, add roles and feature, click next, role based or feature based, click next, and select web IS server, add features, next, 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 install. Starting installation. Alright, so if we go back to again our first server and we open a notepad, so this is like where we're gonna create our web page. So we just call it do a header like a HTML line.
Right.
So we can say this is our blue environment infrastructure.
Yes.
Oh, okay, and we just save it as into our inet pub www-root, and we call it as all files, and we call it as default.html.
Yes.
Save it, and we just copy this. We need it for our second machine. So before we do that, let's go to if we minimize this, and if we copy this, this is our prod VM, isn't it? So if we copy this, it should give us a page, hopefully. Here we go. But it should give us a page of oh, okay, we have to go to that page. So default.html. Here we go.
I see.
So this is our blue environment
Environment.
infrastructure. Same thing. We go to staging VM. We go to our so the switch is installed. Yeah. Same thing again. We create our what do you call it? Notepad.
Yes.
Notepad and copy paste that line. Oh, not this one. Okay, we do it again. H1 H1. Okay, so we just type it something here. This is our green environment infrastructure. Yep.
Yep.
Save as. Save as what? Hello?
Hello. Yeah.
Save where?
Uh,
I just did in my last exercise. So into C, inetpub,
okay.
and then www-root, and do it all files and save as default page. Yeah,
It's default page, all right.
default page, default.html. Save, close this, and to check it, what do we do?
We check the IP.
Okay, so we go to copy this IP, and we go here and just see, copy back again, so we get the page here, hopefully, but we need to type the path to that page. Default .html. Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is our green environment and this is our blue environment. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we have successfully managed to create our structure. So moving forward, so now we'll create our load balancer and configure our backend pool and the routing. Right. So far as what we done, we created two virtual machines, installed IS server, created a code, and we checked it that we got one is showing on the URL blue and green. Uh, what we need to do, we have got this IP addresses, public address. We do not need it when we use an external load balancer, because in external load balancer we'll create its own IP, public IP address, and when the user will hit that public IP address, the traffic will be routed internally after that to these IP addresses accordingly, like 10.20.04. So we need to disassociate IP addresses from this machine. To do that, if we go to networking and networking interface, IP configuration, and this is the IP config 1, and this is a public IP address, and we do, can you see anywhere disassociate? And
I don't see it anyway.
for this is IP config 1 allocations. Okay, if you click the yes, can you do things have changed. Allocation. Let's try that again. So if you go to prod VM, public IP address associated to this network interface. Okay, let's try again. So we go to our prod VM machine and go to our network settings, go to network card and go to IP config, or not this way. If we go to our network access card and public IP address and disassociate, that's it. So this is disassociated, yes. All right. Okay, so if we go to version IP address, if we refresh it, still showing it. Now if you go to our home and if you go to our virtual machine, which is this one, see, it's dissociated.
Yeah.
Yep, it's all gone. Same thing we do for our staging VM. So the best way to do it, we go to network card, IP config, not this one. Why I keep doing this? So if I go to network settings, network interface, this one,
Okay.
and then click that, and then disassociate, click yes.
I see. Yes. Network card.
Yeah, so if we go back to our virtual machine again to make sure, so if we go to our virtual machines, and this is our staging VM, so we do not have a IP associated with it. So successfully we remove public IP address. Now we're gonna use a load balancer. So go to home again, resource groups. Let me make sure it's recording. Yes, it is recording. So if you go to my resource group, create load balancer.
Yes.
So just type load balancer, and we use this one, create. So if we just check our nodes, so we have done associated pips, and what we'll do, choose load, create load balancer, and we use the same use group. We call it app load balancer.
Yes.
Balancer, you can out standard SKU. We call it public.
Yes.
I'm not going to too much details because at this stage we're just like proving a concept of using Azure Load Balancer uh, with the perspective of AZ-400 exam. So don't worry about all that stuff. What does this means? We can go into that later on. Yeah. So we create a front end, add front. So this is where the user will hit. So we call it front end
Front.
IP.
Yeah. Front IP and no space.
Okay, front end
Underscore IP.
underscore good. Front end IP, I have the public IP address, so we create a new public IP address and we call it front end pip,
Okay.
and
Availability zone.
I don't want
No
any
zone.
load center at the
Yeah.
moment. So save, so save, get load balancer, what's that? No, we don't need it. Save,
That's
uh, we'll come back after the uh, load balance is created, yeah?
yep.
So just let create and we'll come back when it's created, yeah? So I just pause it. Let's see.
You post the
Right, so we just came back and you can see our load balance is created. So we need to do configure this. We have already disassociated our public IP address, and now what we do, right? If you go to our load balancer, and what do we have here? So we create configure backend pool, yes, right. So we go to backend pool, add a new backend pool, and we call it production pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is for our blue environment. Yeah. Production, so call it production pool. And virtual network, we use the same one for this one. And IP address, we choose that. So we need to use a private IP address of our production machine, which is this one,
Yes.
10.20.04. Copy that. And packet address name. This one, yeah, it's already picked up. Yeah, and
Okay.
right, so this is for our prod VM. Save it. So we're gonna create two backend pools to isolate both virtual machine, because just pretend that one application is in your completely identical, is in like, which is a prod virtual machine, is in a different environment, and your green is in a different environment. So that's why we'll create another backend pool.
All right.
And this time we call it say staging pool. Pool, same thing again, NIC address, and we choose what's the IP address of our second machine. If we go to virtual machines,
Down, down, down. Yeah.
yep, and you can see our staging machine is 10205.
Yes.
So we choose this one. 10 is already picked up because we're using same network. So it is asking if you want to add more VMs, if they are like part of a cluster, but we got only one machine at the moment. Save it. Mm, Still doing it. Okay, that's done. Now we go to health probe. Health probe is like making sure the machines are running non-stop or anything like that, you know. So we add a health probe and we call it say probe A. What do you know what probe means?
Probe.
Probe, like to
No.
poke something, to check something. Like say for example, you are with me. I say, "Hello, Amar, are you there?" You say, "Yes, I'm here."
Okay,
It's
I
like
see.
probing, yeah.
Yeah.
So we use TCP because our web server is based on port 80, so with information coming. So we leave it like this.
All right.
So we now created a probe now. Now finally we create a load balancing rule.
Okay.
So we create a add and we call it rule A. Front end exists, so we got front end IP address. Remember we created load balancer?
Yes.
And we select existing backend pool. So we do production port 80, backend port also 80. Select an existing probe A, and we just leave it like this and save it. Okay, so right, okay. So if we save it, right. So to check it, let's go to overview, and where is our front end? This is our front end. If we copy that, and 218. So yeah, okay. All right. So go here, paste 218, and default.html. Yeah. So you got. So see, have you noticed something? Hello.
Uh, yep, I
So
think
yeah. So if you can see, this is our front end load
okay.
balancer, public IP address. So the traffic is, if I go to my drawing board again, so what we have done just now, just to explain, so we got blue, so this is an app, just say this is version 1, and we have another app, this is call it green,
Yep.
and just say this is version 1.2, but we called it like this is a green, um, this is a green environment, sorry, blue environment here. Remember in the page,
Yes.
web page,
Yeah, I remember.
and we called it this is green environment. And so we had so we had a public IP before when we created, remember?
Yes.
And we had a public IP here also. So what did we do? So we disassociated.
Yes. With
We,
the associated the public IP.
yes, I'm gonna ask you questions, so be prepared.
All
So we
right.
disassociated both, and so so we get so we gonna be using a strategy to switch the traffic from blue to green. So to do that, we deployed a load balancer,
Yes.
Azure load balancer, yeah, and in this one we have created two backend pools.
Yes.
One we called it production, one we call it staging,
Yes.
yeah, and also we created a front end. What's front end means? So this is your web page, and how you gonna get in? So people will come through a public IP.
Okay.
So it's like any website you go to, like bbc.com or any Italian website. So they don't understand what's BBC means. So there's an IP address behind it, like a DNS name,
Okay.
and that load balancer, they will hit this load balancer, the front end, and then the traffic will go to these virtual machines, the backend pools, and in the whatever the virtual machines in the backend pool, uh, and the traffic will pick up or download that page or browse that page using their private IP address. So we created front end pool, we created a probe. What is probe?
Probe is like to poke.
Yes, to check the health. It's like shaking hand, like saying to you, hello, hello, yeah, I'm here. Are you there?
Okay.
Yes, I'm okay, I'm fine. Just like, sometime I call you, hello, you there? Just like
Yes.
you to be with me. So I'm doing a probe too. And then we had the third one, we created a load balance rule.
All right.
And in that load balance rule, we defined our backend pool and everything which we did. And so what we did after that, so we browsed to this website and we can see it is this. Now, say, like we discussed, a developer comes in or the client comes in and asks for a new feature and you want to switch to a version 2 of the app which is in green environment. So to do that, watch it carefully. Hopefully this work, I'm not sure. Should work. So we go to load balancing rule
Yep.
and we go to rule A, and this time we select our second backend pool, yeah, staging pool, and save it. Yeah.
Yep.
So tell me what will happen. So how do we check now? Where do we go? What to do?
Okay.
So we go to overview, same
Overview.
thing, yeah, and we
Yep.
copy the front end IP creation, which is already here.
Okay.
So if I
And
refresh it, hope should show what?
it should show green environment now. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So we successfully switched to green environment while using a load balancer. Perfect. So to do that again, so to do switch back to my blue environment, what do I do?
We go and we switch back to from
Go,
the backend pools.
no.
Uh,
Backend pools is where we added these two machines. Look, these two machines been added, production pool and staging pool. So how do we switch? How do we like to different? So we created this rule, remember?
oh yeah.
And in this rule, we are defining. So at the moment, the staging pool, if I go to switch production pool,
And yes.
save it,
Okay.
and that's it. So if I go
So
back,
we just change the rule every time.
yeah,
Okay.
just switch it like the staging
Yeah.
pool,
Yes. Yes.
not change the rule. Just confused again. So what we did, the rule is same. We just we're changing the backend pool. That's what you meant?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what did we do? So we switched to back production pool again. So at the moment it's showing green. So if you refresh it, okay, let's do. Did we say production pool, staging pool? Is what happened here. So front end IP. So if I go back to again, so this is. And if I go to root again, and this time select production and save. I think it's cached. Let me try incognito. So front end. mm, Okay, go back and copy this, and we go to cognito. Should give us blue environment.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yes.
So successfully we have used a deployment strategy of using an external load balancer and the traffic is coming to via front-end IP. We created a load balancer, we created infrastructure, we created a web page and all that, and successfully we deployed and done it. And hopefully we'll do our next video after this and we'll upload those. Thanks for joining me, Umar.
Thank you.
So for any question, please ask me in the comments. I'm happy to explain and looking forward to see you again. Bye for now. So let me stop this.